you're keeping well. I want to tie a little caddis pattern today. This is a little personal favourite of mine. This is a little caddis pattern, or sedge pattern, that it's one of my go-to flies in the months of May to September, when the sedges are quite predominant or becoming predominant on the river in the evenings. I will generally switch to one of these coming into the witching hour, that evening, where that part of the evening in the summer where the sun is setting, twilight kind of. This fly is very very effective. But look, it's effective throughout the day as well. It doesn't have to be coming into the evenings. It's just my favourite time to fish it, because I find on the local river I fish, these are quite it's quite effective. But I've used this throughout the day. I've used it in the mornings as well, and it's a very good fly. So this little pattern is actually a take on a little caddis pattern called Bradley's Roman Moser Caddis. Okay, but for it's my own touch to it, or my own spin to it. So instead of using brown dubbing for the body and stuff like that, I'm using natural hare's ear, and I'm not going to use a gold wire, but I'm going to use silver. So put my own touch to it, and so few little differences to it, but it's the same kind of spin on it, or it'd be the same kind of effect, but obviously changing it up a little bit. So to begin, I have a Caddis size 12 B440 hook in the vise, and I'm going to use, to tie this fly, I'm going to use Kevlar silk or thread. Okay. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know how much I really like to tie with this thread. It's one of my personal favourite threads to tie with, mainly because it doesn't break. You just see me catch the point of the hook there, and that's the beauty of it. It won't break. You can trim it away. I'm going to tie in a rib. So the rib I'm going to use is it's a fine gold, or it's a fine silver wire, really fine silver wire. And the reason I'm using a really fine, I like to use a fine silver wire if I'm adding wires to my dry flies. I like it to be really fine, because obviously I don't want any weight or additional weight added to my dry flies. So with that wire, what I've done is I've just put up the length of the shank of the hook and wrapped it up the length and came back down. I want to make sure that is quite secure in there, and that's not going to pull out, no matter how much I put it. So I'll just wrap that wire out of the way, and now I'm going to tie on the dubbing. So I'm going to dub the body of this fly, and for the dubbing I'm going to use, and just have it here, is natural hare's ear. So the reason I'm using natural hare's ear is just, like I said, it's a really good dubbing to use for this. I like natural hare's ear. It's probably one of my dubbins of choice to use, and dyeing it up in different colours and stuff, because I like the hairiness of it, or the scruffiness of it when it goes on, and that's just a really nice effect, leggy effect to the fly, or hairy effect to the fly. So, and for me, that's why I like it. So I tend to dye a lot of my hare's ears to different colours that I need, like olives and browns and stuff like that. And I find it's just, for me, it's just, I like it better than using synthetics or other types of dubbing. So you'll generally see me, a lot of the dubbing I do use is natural hare's ear, just dye different colours. So I'm going to stop that there. So I've brought the dubbing up as far as probably a little bit more than halfway on the shank of the hook, and I'm just going to stop that there. Now I'm going to tie in a hackle onto this. I'm going to wind the hackle back down. So for that hackle, I've got a long saddle, a natural brown saddle, and if you see it here, so this is it here. So you can see that it's a really good, and you can see that there. So it's a grade 2 natural brown, really nice to tie. And I like the saddles because a little bit expensive. Okay, so they are more expensive than capes, but they're better quality, and you get a lot of flies out of the length of that there. So if I bring that in there and just put it through my finger, that is, that's a lot of flies there if you're tying dry flies. So for that reason, you know, they're very, very good. So I'm going to tie this in just there, and I'm just going to, again, I'm going to wind up. I want that to just be nice and secured in, and I'm going to come back down. I'm going to leave that there. So in the opposite direction to the way we tie the thread, I'm going to come back down. Not touching turns. I don't want touching turns because I want that dubbing to come through. So we'll come down. Then I'm going to grab my wire. It's just wrapped around the vise. And I'm going to, again, come in. And I'm going to secure my hackle in place. So winding it through in nice even turns through the hackle, up the body. You can let go of your hackle then once you have it secured in place with a couple of wraps. Continue up, wrapping it through the body, through the hackle, all the way up till we get to the thread. And I'm just going to give 2 wraps. That secures the thread in place, and then I can just give another couple of tight wraps there, and then that has secured that there. And we can cut that wire away then. You're using the different scissors. Just going to cut that wire away, and use my good scissors. Going to cut that hackle away, or saddle away. Now obviously I've trapped a few fibres there that I don't want up here, so just going to clean that up for now. Now I'm at the stage where I need to tie in a wing, and for the wing we have to make the wing, so I'm going to demonstrate now basically how to make the wing for this. A little bit of a process in it, but generally what I do is I sit down before if I'm going to tie up this particular pattern of sedge or caddis, I'll sit down and I'll tie up or make up a lot of wings. So I could probably spend about a half hour to an hour, and they're quite simple to make. Once you get into the flow or the rhythm, the wings are quite easy to make. And I generally, for about a half hour, an hour, I sit down and make up an absolute a box full, and I'll throw them into a little box, a little hook box, something like this here. So I have a little hook box here. It's an empty hook box, and these are a few wings that I've made up, basically for this fly. And generally when I'm tying a few, then I can go off that, but I'm not going to use them, because what we're going to do now is I'm going to demonstrate how to make them wings, and basically we'll use that wing then to go onto the fly. So I'll go over to my other bench and we'll demonstrate that. So to create the wing for this caddis, what I'm going to use is the feather fibres from a hen pheasant wing. So I have here a quill feather from the primary feather from a hen pheasant, one of the wings, and basically it's one I've been using there to just to make other wings sets and stuff like that. And what I'm going to use is Scotch tape, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull off a little length of it, just like so, off the dispenser. And what we want to do is we want to push this down and just come along, and you want to lay it down on top of the feather, like so, and you want to push that into place, making sure it's catching all that there. And we'll turn it over, and we're going to do the same on the back, just to hold them fibres into place. So taking a little bit of Scotch tape off our dispenser, I'm going to come along, because you can see where I've come from here, and we're going to do the same on the back. So coming along, following the quill. It doesn't have to line up perfect, because you only want a section. What I usually do is I make a good few of these, so I'd spend a bit of time making these, and so I'd usually have good quantity of them made up. So when I start tying this fly, I just go to the box and just pull it out. Now I don't want, when I tie this wing onto my fly, I don't want excess scotch tape sticking off, so I'm just going to shape it up. And we're going to trim it up anyway and cut it, but I just don't want to have any scotch tape sticking off, so I'll just trim that there now. So we have both sides scotch taped up. So what I want to do now is I want to come in, so I'm going to come in straight, and I'm going to cut straight up on a good section, so straight up along the right to the quill. And I'm going to come over here then, and again nice little bit, and I'm going to cut right up to the quill. And then I want to come in just underneath, folding it out of the way, and cut across it. And that will leave us with that little bit of a square there, as you can see. So what we want to do now, just to shape this wing, if I can pick it up, is we need to fold this in half. So basically we want to fold it lengthways. So as you see it here, as you see it sitting there, we need to fold this down the middle here like this and have a long rectangular wing. So just grabbing it and trying to, it's fiddly now, it is a little bit fiddly, not going to lie, but we just need to try very carefully bend that over to create a little fold just like that. And what we will do then is we're going to create the point to tie onto our fly. So have a look at it, and you want to look at the most colourful part, which would be this part here. I'm going to have this part sticking out of the wing, and I'll have the darkest part, so the less colourful side, which would be the inside here, as you can see. I'll have that inside. So the inside part is then, so we're going to basically, where you've folded and you have it there like that, we're going to take our scissors, and you come back down. You want to come across the point here, so if you can see my scissors, and you want to go about halfway and create a slant, diagonal cut right across it, so you'll end up with something like that. Okay, and if I put it on the piece of paper there for you to see, you should see it. So you're going to end up with a diagonal cut just like that. If I push it down, so that leaves the tie-in point. So that's going to be our tie-in point here. Now I'll turn it over. Straight little fibre sticking out of it that we don't want, so we're just going to trim that away. So holding it on our tire point, we're going to come back and we're going to nip just a little opposite side, slant off the other opposite side. So just come up, little slant, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to come back the opposite side again and create another point, so just like that. So what you'll have then is you'll have a little wing like this. So we've come in, we've nicked off this end here, creating a slant up this way, and we've come back and we've done it this way, creating a point. So the wing basically comes up, points down, curve, and comes back in. And that's going to be then, that's going to sit on top of our that's going to be the folded wing sitting on our fly, just like that there. And if you probably can see it better in my hand. Okay, so that's going to be our folded fly. So now that you have the wings made, just before we tie it in, I want to tie in a horn onto this fly. And basically I have two pheasant tail fibres here, with the bend pointing upwards, away from the fly, curving upwards. That's the way I want to tie them in. So I've just pulled two little fibres off the pheasant tail. I've separated them. Now they do stick together, ironically, when you're trying to tie them in. They'll stick together on you. When you don't want them to stick together, they won't. So just separating them. What I want to do is I'm going to tie these in. So a little bit fiddly now because they stuck together on me. They joined back together on me, so they did, which I did not want to happen. So curve a point away from the hook. So we'll tie these in. So just measure them up to the fly. They don't have to be that long, not too long. but we do want them probably about that. Okay, so about there. So what we'll do is just pinch and loop, just come in. Don't worry if they bend down, because we can straighten them back up. That's no problem at all. And just come in and just wind back. Just make sure they're nice and secured in place, and then they'll be. We'll cut them away. Now we can come in. We just got with our double needle. Then we can just come in and properly separate them. Just either side of the eye of the hook. So you'll be able to tie the fly onto the hooks. So that's the way you want it sitting there. Now, with the wing we made, so we're going to basically tie it on. So, grabbing the wing, just let me pick it up in my Hackle pliers. So with the wing we made, we want to tie this on now. So how I usually tie it on is I'll just pop it down onto the fly. Now I want this wing to come back off the fly a good bit there, and if you can see that there, you see how it comes off. Just trying to move my finger out of the way there so you can see. So you can see it there, so keeping the fly straight. So the wing will sit back down off the fly like that. Okay, so putting the wing on like that, and that's why we create that point for a tie-in, so we can hold it and we can wind back. So just making good tight wraps onto this now, because we really want this to sit down on the fly, just like that there. And what we can do, so you can see that there, so it's sitting down nicely onto the fly there now. So, and you can see that there then, just as I twist it around. So I want to put on another. I'm going to tie in a hackle now on this, and I want to tie in a really good and really tight bushy hackle on this one. So for that, I'm going to go back to the same saddle I used to wrap down the body, and I'm going to tie that in. Now, if you don't have a saddle, you can use a cock cape. Okay. A brown cock cape will do perfect, or a Chinese cape, no problem at all. And basically, you won't get the length of a saddle. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to use two cock capes, or two hackles basically. I mean, to tie on. So tying two hackles in at the same time and tying them around will give you that same bushy effect. The reason I like the saddle for these is because it's a good and long. You can make multiple wraps and it'll give you a bushy effect. Now, just before we do tie on the hackle, I'm just going to trim. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to trim the feathers just in line with the eye of the hook. Just like that. So just so it's not don't really want it protruding beyond the eye of the hook too much, like that. Okay. I want to give the effect of legs and stuff, but I don't want to protrude down beyond the hook too much. So just like that there. So I kind of want to sit in the water a little bit right. So using the saddle, I'm just going to prepare it. So I'm just going to pull away the end, and you can see that there. And what I'm going to do is shiny side facing out. I'm going to tie it on. I always do it shiny side facing out. Other tyres will tell you to do it dull side facing out, but it's how I was shown when I was being taught how to tie flies. So and what we're going to do is we're going to wrap in the opposite direction of the way you tie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up and kind of go through the thing, because I said, like, I want a good bushy hackle on this. So I'm just going to stay going through it, multiple wraps on top, one on top of the other, bringing it through. You can see how bushy that's after getting. That's the idea. Okay, we can pull it back, and then what we do is what I usually do, the easiest way to to lock it into place is just holding it, and then it's just come down just like that. Don't worry about any fibres that are cut. We're going to pull them out of the way now in a few minutes. So I'm going to come in, I'm just going to cut my saddle out of the way, and then just basically gathering all these fibres here. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to create a little head. We can trim these away. It's not the end of the world that these got caught. We'll clean it up. Now you can see the bushiness of that fly there. I'll brush it all back into place now with the hackle in a few minutes. I had to pull them all out just to I'm after actually winding up the one of my horns. So using my double needle, I'm going to separate them again. Just like that. Come back in and create a little head. Now, so because I'm using the Kevlar stick now, I'm going to colour the head, so I'm going to put a little black head onto this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in with a black Sharpie marker, as you can see there, and all I'm going to do is just come down along and colour up that. Wind up, tighten up, and just create a nice little black head there, covering just that white part there, like that. And come in then and we'll whip finish. Just be careful of them two horns, not to disrupt them. Pull tight and cut away. And then what we can do then is we can just clean up around the eye. Again, I just want to grab my double needle and just separate the two horns as they should be. And then we'll just, again, just with your finger, just push the fibres forward that got caught up. And that's effectively it. So there's a little caddis or brown sedge pattern, and that is one of the most effective little patterns I find on my local river, and never fails to catch me fish. Great little pattern. Like I said, it's my own little kind of a spin off on the Bradley Roman Moser Caddis, and it's definitely one to try and tie. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you certainly hope you enjoyed tying this fly. Thanks for watching. All the best.